I'd like to be in Tampa right now instead of buried in 12 inches of snow.
We can only dream, Adam.
It's showtime. This is The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast, and your one and only source for all things show skiing, bringing you news, knowledge, and interviews with the legends and stars of our sport. Here are your hosts, Matt Heilman and Adam Schaller.
Welcome to the Ski Show, coming to you from our virtual studios in southern Wisconsin, recording this as we literally were buried by 12 inches of snow last night. I always wonder why we live here, but here we are. We all make choices, I guess. But after a week off for our Thanksgiving holiday, we're back with a fantastic episode as we chronicle the history of the Tampa Bay water ski show team.
Today's sponsors are the Board Shop. All your summer and winter board sports gear is yours at bswake.com. The Paul Stokes Agency at American Family Insurance. Let Paul be your insurance agent. And as always, FlymanSkis, custom-made jump skis, and Featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices. You can get yours at FlymanSkis.com.
How was your Thanksgiving, Adam?
It was great. We traveled to Door County. My sister lives in Door County now, and yes, she lives there full time. That's what everybody asks. They're like, year round? Yeah.
First time having Thanksgiving up there?
First time having Thanksgiving in Door County. It was
Nice.
It was super windy on the. Actually, we got some weather on the way up Wednesday. Super windy, snow. Roads were not great. I think it took us an extra hour to get there. And check this out: the waves on Lake Michigan. Wednesday night peaked at 39 feet.
What?
39 feet.
It's
That's
a lake.
insane. It's a big
Although
lake,
I've seen crap all over social media of people saying that the Great Lakes are really oceans. If you can't see land on the other side, it's an
Right.
ocean.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But no,
they're so
it was
big.
great. It was great.
Good.
Came
Good
back
for you.
and got home in time to get dumped on, and now we've got a lot of snow, and it's winter. Here we
Yes.
go.
Winter has set in for sure. Yeah, Thanksgiving was good here too. We didn't have to travel anywhere. Everybody's local. We actually hosted my family and Katie's parents, and so that was good. And watched Packers and ate some food, and so it was a good day, good time, good holiday weekend as always. Reminder to our listeners: coming up this coming Sunday, if you're catching this episode in the first few days that it's out, we are having our live stream reveal of our top 5 nominees for all of our awards categories. It's that time of year. The awards committee has put in incredible amount of work, tons of hours. They've made their votes, and we now have our top 5 in each category, and that's going to be revealed Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central on our podcast Facebook page. So make sure you tune in to see the top 5.
Yeah, 7 o'clock this Sunday night. I can't believe it's already this time, and we're announcing the top 5 nominees in each category. And I think just based on the message thread with the awards committee, I think this year might be the most hours that I think the awards committee has put in. So it's, and here it is. We get to now recognize all of these hours and this work by announcing the top 5 nominees. So that's great.
Yeah, we always talk about the integrity of the process and how important it is, because we believe that these awards are the most important awards in the sport. We're recognizing so many different people, and it's amazing to shine a light on the amazing people and teams and skiers and individuals within our sport. So that's always awesome. And, with this too, we're going to allow the public is going to soon be able to place a vote. So what we've added the last couple of years is that you, the public, are our 12th committee member, essentially. So your combined votes as a public equal 1 committee member. And so you're going to get to weigh in on our top 5 and we'll have a public voting form out to you soon in which you'll be able to vote. And then we don't reveal the winners until our live award show at Think Tank on Friday night of Think Tank. Not even our committee members know who wins until that night. We keep them in the dark.
Yep.
And it's revealed live that night. And so we want you in that room. Tickets are already on sale for Think Tank. You can get your early bird package pricing for Tanks and Clinics and the award show. We'd love to see you all there. Adam, we're talking Tampa today. Tampa is not far from the home of FlymanSkis, and Flyman had a big year. There's more big things in store as we look ahead to next year.
Yeah, that's right. You know all about them. Custom-made jump skis and Featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices. These skis are made for skiers, by skiers. You can go through their design process, make your own custom design, which is really awesome, or you can choose one of their fantastic stock designs.
Yep. They sponsor jump tours. They live streamed all sorts of events, and they outfit some of the best athletes in the sport. Get your skis at FlymanSkis.com. That's FlymanSkis.com.
Time to get to our featured interview today. We love doing these team histories, and today we are going to learn all about Tampa. On the show today are two longtime Tampa members. Let's say hello to John Summers and Lindsey Hanson. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Good morning. How are you? We're recording this in the morning. How's life down south? Because we're in the north under a lot of white snow.
It's really good right now. It's getting up into the 80s today. We actually have a ski show that the team is putting on today on a Lake Tarpon.
That's awesome.
And I'm a halfback now, so I'm in the Carolinas, probably closest to the Carolina show ski team. They're right around the corner from me.
Yeah. Cool.
And
Very
it's
cool.
kind of a little chilly for us, but not cold for you guys. Probably in the 40s today.
That's cold enough.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. Let's talk about the history of the team. When did it start?
Whew. It was sort of an iteration of it evolved multiple times, and I'm probably not the truest person to ask, but in the 70s, there was a spinoff from Tampa Ski Bees and the Hal Elgin Aquamaniacs. And then it became what was known as Georgia Ski and Social Club, which was when I joined. I was 18 going on 19. So I think it was 1983 because I joined the team just before they went to nationals in 83. And I didn't go to nationals with them because, I didn't, nationals, what's that? This whole ski club thing was still kind of sort of new to me. And then it went from being Georgia's. I think in 85, we made quite a mark for ourselves. I think we took third at nationals. I think it was third. And it was a really small team, especially to take third. But we had the first Mobius ever at nationals. We had the first shoe ski helicopter ever at nationals, which Paul Galizzi, I think he learned it like the night before. And so it was, they were like, if you're just going to ride over the jump on shoe skis, there's probably a bunch of people going to do that. And he's like, okay, well then I'll go do a helicopter then. And he stuck it. I don't know if sticking it on shoe skis is possible, but he definitely skied away from it. And I think he surprised himself. But I think we only had maybe 25 skiers-ish, 25 skiers. We didn't have a 4-tier pyramid. So were they doing 4 tiers yet in 85? That was probably right around the time
Probably
they did
right around the time when that happened. It might have been just after that. I don't recall the year. So when you joined when it was still George's.
Yeah.
And tell us any memories you have from your time with George's.
Absolutely. It's endless. I met Hank when he was 12 and he was a little brat. And it made him more of a brat to watch him growing up as a 12-year-old learn every single trick the first try. He didn't, and he'll say he worked his butt off, but Hank learned stuff so easy at such a young age. He wasn't doing like flips and gainers and he wasn't really doing a lot jumping but probably about the time he rolled around to 14, yeah, he started becoming dangerous because he was always playing on the trampoline and stuff. But Hank's a special athlete. I think he's got a photographic memory, physical photographic memory. I think once he learns something, he never has to learn it again. He just makes it better.
Yeah.
Cool. But I certainly watched him grow up through the years. I skied with him at SeaWorld and watching him, learn all the tricks on the Pro Tour. But he was very inspirational. Terry McAnaspey was one of the beginning years Pro Tour skiers. He was the one that did Mobius for the first time at Nationals, and he certainly was an inspiration to all of us. He was just a little bit older than me. I'm going to guess he's probably 4 or 5 years older than I am. But yeah, and George was a guy that, if he had a chore he needed to get done, he lived on the lake, he invited you to go skiing, you'd get over there ready to ski, and he's like, oh, hey, we need to move this pile of dirt, 100 yards first. And so he knew how to inspire people, and it wasn't always the way you wanted to be inspired, but he was quite a character. And very memorable, and obviously, Garry Stout. And I met Garry when I met George. So we were, I met him when I was 18 going on 19, and Garry was a life mentor for me. So and Lindsey certainly got plenty of Garry stories.
Yeah, and we'll chat. We definitely want to dive into some Garry stories as kind of one of the core members. I want to ask you, John, am I remembering right with George's? Did you guys perform at nude beaches? Is this true?
That's what Hank said.
Very first ski show I ever did was at a nudist colony, and the second ski show I ever did was at a nudist colony. There were two of them right by us, and they literally were through the woods, but you still had to. One of them was absolutely tiny. And when I say tiny, you land and as soon as you landed jumping, the boat was turning, and you couldn't. They attempted a few times barefoot circles, but it was really, and the whole backside of the lake was swamp, and cypress knees, and if you got whipped into the swamp, and one guy, John Paff, he was a young barefooter, back barefooter, and he got whipped into the swamp one time trying to do a circle there. But yeah, and then through the swamp, you could probably take a canoe, you go to the other side, there was another nudist colony. So one was called Paradise Lakes, and the other one was Lake Como, and they're not all they're cracked up to be. There's a lot of people that should never walk around naked.
That's a fact.
We stayed. That actually, I think, was one of the Tampa's longest running shows. We don't do that show anymore, but that was one of the most longest running, and it was always, from what I remember, during winter time. I think we did one in February years back, and of course there was an age limit on how old you had to be to participate in that. But yeah, we don't do that show anymore.
Yeah, and we didn't do the show naked, by the way.
Thank goodness.
There were a few novelty acts, probably where towards the end of the show they'd go out and do a naked pyramid or something, and yeah. There's a funny story about that. Terry McAnaspey, he and his wife, they were like Barbie and Ken, back in the day. They were, a good looking couple, and he was like, no way, not going to do it. And they finally talked him into doing it one time. And they went out, and he was in a pyramid, and the only time he'd ever done it. And about 2 weeks later, he's at work, and someone walks up, and he's on the cover of this Nudist Weekly magazine or something in a pyramid. And
weekly.
Wait, I made that name up. I don't know what it was
That's
called, but it was
awesome.
something like that. And he's like the only time he had ever done it, and he's on the cover of a magazine.
That's funny.
The McCannaskis are actually how I even got started on the team. So my dad worked with his now ex-wife, Terry's ex-wife, who used to be on the team. I can't remember her name. But they had like a work function out at the lake, and there was, would George have still been alive? There was some like really old member that happened to be there. And
How maybe?
and I was just really, I was tiny, I was young, and didn't really care. And he was like, "Oh, why don't you come out and see the ski show out at Tower Lake?" And because I remember we went out there, and I was like, "Oh, I like this. This is fun." And that night, John had me climbing a 4-tier pyramid and all that. And I actually remember we used to be, for a short period, we were called the USA Water Ski Show Team, because I can remember our old trailer had like that written on it in the back.
What year was that you joined, Lindsey?
I joined in like 95,
Okay.
so I was like 8
Okay,
years old.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were, yeah, they were Tampa by then.
Yep.
Had changed to Tampa by then.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and when she joined, yeah, her and her sidekick Chandra, which was they used to go and dig in the mud and dig up worms and clams, and you'd
yeah,
have to yell at them to come and get in the pyramid, and they were busy.
we were the girls that didn't like, we hated ballet and swivel, and we would try to catch snakes to threaten to put them on the girls' swivel skis, so we didn't have to do ballet.
They were really young. Yeah, you were really young.
Yeah, so we did. That's something with, well, compared to you guys, we have, snakes and alligators, all that we had to dodge around and deal with. I can remember an alligator sitting all ballet practice as we were going around on the jump ramp, just sitting there the whole time.
Huh.
No, thank you.
They don't bother you.
Yeah.
They get away.
Yeah, sometimes, if not.
Let's talk a little bit about the influence that Garry Stout had on the team.
Wow. So, like I said, I met him when Garry passed. That was 40 years. That year was 40 years for us, and he was 20 years older than me. So I was 18. I turned 19 that first year, and so he was. Uh, God, when I first met him, he was an announcer, pretty much what he did, but he invited us over to ski all the time. He lived on Lake Keystone, so his place was a lot like George's. It was the place to go and ski. And, you know, I just can't say enough about him. When, when I wanted to go and ski pro, he wrote letters to multiple to everybody for me. And I actually thought I was going to go ski at Lake of the Ozarks because it was still going at the time. Mo Shank, I think, was show director back then. But I ended up going to SeaWorld training program during the winter and met Danny Stewart. But and that was the end of that story, because once you meet him, you're done. But Garry, he, gosh, I he taught me how to be a better person. It wasn't just about skiing, but he was always there to pull you. Uh,
Yeah,
let Lindsay talk about it.
he, in the swivel line that I was in a lot, he was always my driver, no matter what. And it definitely made me a better skier, because I don't think he enjoyed driving swivel as much. So it was like, get her done. Like, so whatever speed we got was the speed we get. But he was probably the one that critiqued me the most, but it was very valuable information that he gave. I used to compete in doubles a lot, and he would sit there and watch me and my partner Andrew, and he would tell us what we need to do better, what looks good, what doesn't look good. He would also, when I was show director, he would help me with how to write the show, because there's little, the nuances for how you write things down before you compete or whatever. Really helpful with all of that. And he was also probably the hardest judge for me because he knew that I, wouldn't point my toe in this one part of the lift, and he'd be like, "You didn't point your toe." But it definitely made me a better skier. I mean, there's some funny memories. Gosh, I can remember one time I think everyone knew Garry always wore a toupee, and it flew off in doubles line. And I can remember we stopped the show. We were looking for the toupee. It like hit my foot, freaked me out. Didn't want to be in the water. And at the time I was really young. I had no idea like what that was, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, get me out of here!" I think they ended up finding it. I think it floated up a little bit later, but
It's awesome.
Yeah, that could be a culture shock for a young kid.
so because when I joined, he was still skiing some. He was doing pyramids and doubles. So, and then
Yeah.
he would occasionally announce if we didn't have like an announcer, but he was still pretty actively doing doubles line and pyramid.
Yeah. He showed up to jump practice every Tuesday night. He'd ride over the ramp.
I think I did
He was
see him
doing that
jump
for a while.
once. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to know him through his, officiating at nationals every year. So he would make a point of coming up after the show, chatting about it. We would have conversations about, like, he'd want to chat even in advance of the tournament, like, who's looking good, how's the season been. Like, it was great. He'd always want to chat about that, and then after the show, he'd make a point of coming up. And so I got to, as a show director of Mad City, got to meet him and get to know him over the years through that relationship, because he was always happy to talk, to offer critique, to share his thoughts on shows and teams, and that was super fun, and I always found that valuable chatting with him.
Mm-hmm. He definitely knew a lot about the sport, and was very willing to help anyone. I mean, I can remember going over there and skiing at his house too, and all of that. And he would just watch and give you very good tips and help.
What would
He
you
was a
guys-
true.
Go ahead.
Go
John.
ahead. I was saying he was a true study of the sport, probably a lot like you in that sense, that you guys have really taken the sport to a new level, today. But I can remember one of his first lessons when we were talking about nationals. He talked about the Aqua Jays, and he said, they don't just ski to win; they ski to never lose. And I said, okay, so expand upon that. And he's like, you go through the scores, you find out what scores the highest, you look at every aspect of every act, and you try to milk every single point out of every single act. And if it doesn't cut the mustard, then you don't do the act.
Yep.
And so he said that always doesn't always make the best ski show you're ever going to see, but it makes the highest scoring ski show you're going to see. And he said that's the approach that you take to nationals. And so that was always, my approach. My approach was write a show for every single act to fall, and then you know what to do if that act's going to fall. And that was always my approach, because even a perfect show, like the best act might fall,
Yeah.
and you weren't expecting it. And so if you always have a plan,
That's a super
then
interesting perspective, John. Like, what, like, worst case scenario. So, like, we talk about, like, okay, this act can score this, and we're going to put it in the show, but what's the worst case scenario? What if every act falls? Is that still worth having if it falls?
well, if every act falls, you just go ahead and shoot them while they're still in the lake, and just
Right. Exactly. No, that's
I can
that's
remember
interesting.
when I went to nationals with the team, and John, you were show director. We not many teams do pyramids in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what site we were at, but we went to go do our circle and practice, and we hit shore. I think it could have been Janesville maybe, and we hit shore because we just did it around, and just the whole thing fell forward, and we were like, what in the world? But that's where we never really had even done any pyramids on a straight line, so it wasn't our thought to say something about it because we were just like, oh, it's circle like normal.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. What would you guys say would be the heyday of Tampa? If you had to pick out a window of time, what were the peak years, the heyday of Tampa?
I think there's two. One was the second time Tampa went to nationals when I was on the team, and like when we did the
2000.
7-man.
2000 Nationals.
Yeah, we came within 10 points of winning. And then the second time, I would say, which is really sad, it was like right before we lost our ski site. We were like setting records for rap, and we just had a huge group of young kids coming up that had a lot of talent. So
yeah, that's a bummer. And I remember that video actually is still probably one of the most watched videos that USA Water Ski has put out at Tower Lake. That rap video, it still resurfaces now and again. Was it 12, 13? What was that on that video that's circulating?
14, I think.
14? Yeah, incredible. Around the boat at Tower Lake, kind of right before you guys lost it. That's fascinating. Let's talk about that 2000 Nationals. I think our listeners would love to relive that a little bit. Talk about some of the great moments and the great names that skied in that show.
Oh, there's a lot. I was little, but
Yeah,
John remembers most of it.
Yeah.
Well, 99 was also, we made a mark. But we did a 6-man in 99, and all the guys, well, not all, some of the guys were like, well, you're never getting 7 over the ramp. That's done. So we've been there, done that. We're not going back. And so, the next year, Hank and Gino, were both skiing with us. And, Hank basically came out of retirement, and he showed up and had like a dead rat in his binder or something. He hadn't put his skis on in so long. And, it was kind of funny, but, the nice thing that we had going for us back then was we didn't really have social media, and the element of surprise
Yep.
is so valuable.
When you guys
If
kept that a
if
big secret, like I barely remember like hearing anything about
nobody
it.
knew
Secret
that they had made a
practices.
7-man, nobody had knew that we had made a 7-man, and we had made 4 or 5 different times with a variation of jumpers. And, but there's no doubt there was one group that was in the group that skied at nationals. And actually the day before, we swapped a jumper, because he missed a flip in practice. And we're like, hey, everybody, I said, guys, I forget who it was. It was either CT or it might have been Sean Newberger. I said, I want to make the call, but I don't want to make the call. You guys have been doing this together. You guys, Rochambeau, you decide. And they made a switch. I think it was, Joe and Troy Sigmeyer. But yeah, that was quite an assembly of skiers we had at the time. And I remember Hank wasn't in the 7-man, and we were actually floating, let me think. That was 99, because Hank didn't go in 2007. Yeah. I mean, 2000. But, when they did the 6-man, people were dropping their food. This is in 99. They were in line. We could see people dropping their food running to the shoreline. That had been waiting in the concession stand. So in 2000, they were expecting something, and we finished the show. That was the last act with 7-man.
Because that was like a big thing. It was like not a final pyramid. We're going to end it with the 7-man.
Yep.
And that was not very traditional either. So yeah. And one of the guys lost a ski, so they almost went down. And I think it was Troy. He lost a ski, and the other guy reached over and grabbed him, and they skied it to shore. But
what a moment, huh? What a moment.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone has skied away from a 7-man at nationals since then, have they?
Great question.
7-man.
I don't think I've been watching every year. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I
You
look
guys did
for.
it in both, right?
I know
Correct. We've done
worlds.
it
I
at
know
both, but
worlds
not at nationals.
Yeah.
I think
now.
RAJ has
It's done
tried it a couple
6.
years.
Sarasota had the means, but they didn't ski away from it. They tried it, and they had a heck of a team. I forget what year that was when they won, but
They did a 6-man that year in 2017.
yeah, it's
Wonder Lake has tried it, RAJ, but I think you might be right. It might be the last, or the only 7-man completed at Division One Nationals. The most recent, and maybe that was Sarasota. Attempted 7, made 6. That's fascinating. Really great stuff. Adam, Tampa may have had its heyday in the late 90s, early 2000s, but the board shop is in its heyday today.
That's right. Clearly, summer is over. We've got a lot of snow, and the board shop has all the winter sports gear you could want: skis, boots, jackets, boards, and so much more. They've got everything to outfit you and your family for this winter.
Yeah, they sure do. And show skiers get a discount at the board shop. Visit their shop in Lake Geneva or hop online at bswake.com and use the promo code SHOW15 and get a discount on your purchase. That's bswake.com, promo code SHOW15. All right, you guys made some mention, John. I'd love to talk about. I'm fascinated with the teams in the South, especially at in the peak years when professional shows were at their peak, and your clubs were at its peak. Talk about the connection between the Southern amateur teams and Tampa in particular, and the professional shows, the Gardens, SeaWorld. Was
sure.
there back and forth knowledge shared? Was there skiers, professional skiers looping into and back from professional shows and into amateur shows? Talk about that connection.
It goes way back to George's actually, because George's wife Barb, she skied at Cypress Gardens, and a lot of the Southern Region tournaments back in the day were at Cypress Gardens. So you'd get a chance to go and ski in the Cypress Garden Show Circle in a tournament, and so there was always an influence there. When I started, I took hang gliding lessons from Mark Voisard, but so there was that way back legacy, and then Don Buffa and Linda Buffa joined Cypress Gardens, and as when I went to SeaWorld, they've certainly carried that legacy on of that Cypress Gardens connection, and over the years, many people have from the team have graduated to Cypress Gardens. When I went to SeaWorld, I went to Texas. It was when they first opened, and I think we had 5 skiers that first year out in Texas, first or second year from Tampa. So there's always been a very strong connection and influence. There was a lot of in the early years. There was a lot of clinics and type thing that would happen at Cypress Gardens. That we'd get invited over. Girls would get invited over for swiveling. Guys would get invited over, for jump. But some of that stuff kind of went away because it was over the years there became more liability, and as soon as lawyers and insurance companies start getting involved, that's something you either got to be employed or not. But certainly Don and Linda Buffa, their influence, on the team after the George's era, when it rolled into the Tampa era. Don and Linda have always been a big influence, and we're always, a part of drafting people to the Gardens. And then there was always a Cypress Garden / SeaWorld interconnection. People would go and they would ski at the Gardens, and then they'd go ski at SeaWorld in Orlando. And so, but probably the Gardens was the biggest influence, if I was going to say, to the team over the years, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, they even influenced on how we climb pyramids. Tampa does a thing, it's called like Funky Step Up, which is what the Gardens does, where the third tier girl starts off on skis next to the center guy, and you almost do like a modified load up to go straight to standing. And then just in general, the ballet artistry that Cyprus is known for was really hounded on, at least as a Tampa girl, as on all of us. Was like, that's what we kept kind of being a model of what we wanted to achieve. And I mean, a lot of Tampa skiers have gone to ski at professionally and at the Gardens. That's where I started, along with, at the time, my doubles partner. And then there's been, I mean, you guys know Trina Sawaska, or Sardinia now, Shannon Welch. I mean, there's a lot of the guys, the Carson boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we still feed them,
Yeah.
basically, to that area. But yeah, they definitely did have a big influence, which I think has helped our team make so many professional water skiers.
Yeah, for sure. John, you had mentioned the influence of Don Bufa, which kind of segues into this, something I've been wanting to ask about because I've seen a video of it. And I'm not sure exactly what you guys call it, but for our discussion today, the Phantom Night Show. I want to talk about that. Like,
Let Lindsay talk about that.
how did that come about? How much did you have to practice? I mean, because that was an announcerless show, correct?
Yes, it was. It was all done by like production and
Yep.
dancing. And there wasn't as much water skiing actually, like, because it was done at night too. So you
Yep.
didn't see like any of the turns, but in the turns there was stuff going on stage. It was quite a production, and it was a really fun one. We also did a really cool night show for pirates called Catania's Revenge. And I mean, we built huge props and sets and had everything come in. But it was
Were those one-off shows, or were those performed more than once?
So they were only performed twice. We used to do 2 Halloween night shows, the 2 weekends before Halloween. And so we would start preparing almost in August, and we would practice, and then we would, we'd practice even the night shows, and then we'd only do them twice. So I think we did Catania's Revenge 2 years in a row, so only 4 times. And then the Phantom of the Opera type one, I don't remember how many times we did that, if we did that twice or not. But yeah, so it was only done a little bit, but they were really cool shows and really fun shows to do. Just brings a whole nother level of excitement and with the theater.
Yeah. For like, yeah, you started preparing in August for something that you performed twice. I mean, because from what I saw in the video, like it was because you didn't have an announcer and because you weren't, basically dark in the corners, right? So the skiing was just in front of the stage, so the rest of it had to be production. It was so well timed, right? Because without an announcer, it had to be. You couldn't have the audience waiting for something. It was. Yeah, you guys had to put a lot of work into that because
We did, yeah. There couldn't be
really
falls.
awesome. No, there couldn't. It couldn't be. There's a lot of things that just can't happen in a show like that.
Yeah, and then
it was amazing.
it was good to use other people's talents. Like our dancers of the group would dance on stage during, they would choreograph special things, and so that was kind of neat too. But yeah, we had a lot of radio walkie-talkie back and forth to try to get that all perfect.
And the use of light is super interesting at night. Like you can get away with stuff with the use of lights to present a certain feel to the show. That also had to take lots of practice, I imagine. All the stage choreography, the use of lights and music, and the timing and the flow of it all.
Yes, we would do our Saturday shows, I remember, and then we would practice right after our Saturday shows. When it would start getting dusk, we would start practicing then for our night show. And it was really cool. I think you can portray a whole different story than what you can do during the day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those were done at Tower Lake, right?
Yes, those were all done in Tower Lake. So
let's segue there. I see you got some company there, but we'll continue our conversation. Talk about the loss of Tower Lake. When and how did that happen, and what's the what's been the aftermath of losing that site?
So that I guess from what I know was that basically, so we never owned that lake. We were leasing it. And actually an old member, I think her dad was the one who found it, because Tampa used to be a traveling team. We didn't have a home site. Then the person's dad owned the company or worked for the company and got us Tampa. And then it had sold a couple different companies, and when the new company got a hold of it, they saw us out there, and then they basically were like, nope, you can't be there. So they gave us, I think, only a couple months notice and said you had to pack up, get everything, and go. It actually ended up, I think our lease was even longer that we had, like our rental lease that we had with them. But that was pretty devastating because, I mean, that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And like I have the kids, and I was like excited for them to ski there. And like I said, that was we were really coming back up, like in our heyday, like type with a whole bunch of skiers. So it was a pretty big shock. And Florida doesn't have a lot of lakes that aren't like associated with like an HOA or another thing. So we're really limited on what we can even ski on. But yeah, so it really stinks. I mean, we've been trying since we lost it to find something, but nothing has came up.
So where
How long were you
skiing
on
shows?
Tower Lake? How long were you on Tower Lake?
John, do you know how long we were on Tower Lake?
Over 20 years.
20 years.
I'm thinking, what year did you lose it, Lindsay?
I think it was 2019-ish, 2020.
Yeah,
That
I don't
sounds
remember.
pretty close. So it would have been somewhere, let me think, 91 or 92, somewhere in
Okay.
there. So
It's a long time.
it was
Yeah.
a long time. And really and truly, I don't think that from the stories that I heard, and I was gone by then, but in talking with Garry weekly, the story that I heard was that they didn't really even give the team a chance to have a conversation about it. And the excuse they used was that there was new technology on one of the towers that they couldn't afford to risk, any liability. And today the site is probably a better site for the team than what it was through the years, because they tore one of the towers down.
Yeah, they tore the tower down. Yeah, they didn't really. They basically, like, we tried to like plead our case, and they were like, nope, can't
Yeah.
be.
Is there any hope of going back there, or not, as long as this company owns this property and these towers?
Well, so actually, I think all the towers are down. They actually
Wow.
removed all the towers.
They're all down now?
There maybe might be
Wow.
one, but the big one to the right that always limited us, because it kind of jetted out, is gone, and then the one right behind where our left dock one is gone. But I don't know. I mean, the company still owns the property. There's not much you can do on that property because there's a railroad track also that's like right next to where our bleachers were. So it's not like you could build homes. So
does it still sit empty?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's too bad.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
Yeah. It's a really sad story. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what would be great is if they almost give the property to the city of Oldsmar, which is where it was, and then because we do still have a very good relationship with them, and then they let us come back. But I don't know if anyone has any strings to pull. That would be great. But we've tried, and we can't.
What are you guys doing now? I mean, you mentioned you have a ski show today. Where is that at? Are you back to a traveling team, or what's the current situation?
we're a traveling team now, kind of almost like how we originated. We are practicing at members' homes. We have a lady that joined our team basically just so we could use her property to practice out on Lake Keystone, which is where Tampa used to practice. We also practice on Lake Pageant and do ski shows there. But all of them they're not like where we can do Saturday shows, so we only get a chance to just kind of do our practices, and they're not really set up, obviously, to do patterns.
Right.
And we also still have to kind of fight. A lot of people don't like the boats. They think like our twin rig is the biggest boat and makes the biggest waves, so they don't, we can't come close to shore. But we just kind of do paid shows now.
Has that negatively impacted membership over the last 5 years?
Very much so. I would say our membership keeps declining. It's hard to build members. I mean, some of us have had kids, so that's how we've built members. But other than that, it's really hard just because we're not out in front of a crowd, I think, as much, and we can't offer as much. We can't offer like learn to ski days. We can't offer those things.
Right. That bring in new members.
Yeah. So it is really hard to build membership. I mean, we still steadily trick up. We have a new kid, Gavin, who's just found the ski team as like a little side thing, and he's young. He's, I think, like 9 or 10 or maybe a little older than that, but he's improved a lot. But it's hard because we also can't have a jump anywhere either. So we can't, kids want to learn jump, we can't really offer that.
Yeah.
So.
Before we wrap up today, so this will kind of segue us. I'm actually interested now kind of hearing about the challenges you've had since the loss of Tower Lake. As you guys may or may not have heard, Cypress Gardens is going to come to D1 Nationals next year. Will there be a moment, so kind of two-part question, is there a chance you guys lose membership to that? And two, is there a day that you envision where Tampa finds a home, grows the team back, and Tampa attends nationals itself? Because I'd love to see that, like we all would. So I'm just curious about what you're seeing going on in the South and how it's impacting your team.
I mean, that's the goal. The goal would be to definitely get a site and build the team up to end up going back to nationals. I think we would really love that. As for us losing members, I don't know. I mean, we definitely support Cypress Gardens to go and represent the southern region. I think that's fantastic, and we'll be, no offense to you northerners, but we'll definitely be cheering on our region.
As you should. I think it's fantastic too. Like the more teams like that we can get at nationals, the better.
Yeah, so I think it'll be great for them and for everyone to experience that, because that is something really cool to see. I mean, our region's really small. We have really only 3 teams that compete, 3 or 4 teams now that compete. And besides CG, I think you can combine the 3 other teams, and we still don't even equal the members of CG. Because Sarasota, they're having their own issues. They've been destroyed by the hurricanes repeatedly. Which
Carolina.
loses members. Yeah, and then there's also Carolina, and they have, it's far for them to come, and they have some struggles to get down. And there's a couple little smaller teams, but they're very, very small in Lakeland. But yeah, so it would be really good to see a team go and win nationals, a Southern Region team.
I don't think as you talk about traveling to nationals, that's a hurdle, and Brad certainly understands it, and Lindsey understands it. To go over 1,000 miles and to take everything, you guys know what it took, the effort that you do with Worlds. That's every single time for coming from Florida. It's you might as well be going to the other side of the earth. Everything.
That's tough.
It's something that most people can't appreciate. Even the teams that travel the farthest, up in the Midwest, it's still a 500 or 600 mile journey versus a 1,200 mile journey.
Yeah.
And it, it's just a lot. It takes a lot. And as soon as that journey becomes that far, there's a little bit of attrition that happens because everybody isn't 100%. If they're an 80%er, if the tournament was in town, they'd be there.
Yeah.
But so you have a lot of challenges, a lot of campaigning
Yeah.
to get that to happen. I know Brad's been a part of it. It certainly is. Uh, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, you have people then that are traveling that far just to be in ballet line. So, or, a barefoot line. But it is, I mean, it's fun. It's great. I think it'd be cool to see nationals come down here, but then you guys would all have to spend that much money too to come down here.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. This is awesome. I want to give you guys one last word from both of you. What does Tampa mean to you, and share any kind of final words about Tampa?
Tampa's family to me. It's gonna make me cry. Like, I was in John Sumner's wedding as a junior bridesmaid, and I grew up on the team. My kids have grown up on the team. My parents are on the team. My husband's on the team. So it's very much a big family organization. As the kids were babies, I would literally hand them off to whichever parent of another member and take them. My oldest is doing doubles with a third generation Tampa skier. And they're, so it's very much a family.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And I don't participate with the team anymore. But there was a lot of years of, I never had kids, but I raised a lot of people's kids out there at the ski site. That's for sure.
Me.
Um, and, and I say that loosely because the families, I mean, you guys have been a part of Mad City forever. And it goes without saying, you have a lifetime of memories and people that have touched you, that have moved you, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but a lot of hurdles that you had to overcome, so it's just a growing experience that you'll never forget. And family is the best word.
There's no sport like it. We say it all the time. There's nothing like the sport of show skiing, and in terms of the power that it has as a family sport, that community, the sportsmanship. There's nothing like it. So, thank you guys for sharing your thoughts on Tampa, the history. It's so cool. We love doing these team histories. Really appreciate you guys sharing everything today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for inviting.
You got it. That was awesome. I love actually the emotion in their voice at the end when you talk about how meaningful it is to be like, I'm sure it's this way with every team, but they have a special bond there. And I think, some of the experiences of the recent past, the passing of Garry Stout, loss of the show site, even makes that family tie and that emotion even that much stronger.
Yeah, like you said, you could hear it in their voice, and I was actually getting a little emotional just listening to them talk about it, because I think all of us can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That show skiing is family, and they've been through some tough times, right? I can't imagine not having a site. They're similar to probably Badgerland in that,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on there too, but they still a team, still putting on
Yep.
shows, fantastic, colorful history with that team.
Yep.
And the fact that it's been 25 years since they were at Nationals in 2000 blows my mind, because it feels like yesterday, but just saying that out loud, it's been 25 years. Like, holy smokes.
Yeah, incredible stuff. So great history of the Tampa team. Thanks to John and Lindsey for being on the show today. Adam, before we wrap up, we need to talk about the Paul Stokes Agency at American Family Insurance.
Yes, Paul is a fantastic insurance agent with American Family Insurance. You should definitely check him out. Paul's tagline is "Get stoked, stay stoked," and you know with Paul, you're going to get great service.
He's backed by one of the best in American Family Insurance. They can cover all your needs and provide you service at a high level. Paul has been helping show skiers and water skiers with their insurance needs for many years. Contact the Paul Stokes Agency at American Family today to get that quote and save money on your insurance. Get stoked and stay stoked with Paul Stokes and American Family Insurance.
All right, everybody, don't forget this Sunday. So mark this down on your calendars. This Sunday, 7 o'clock, is going to be the awards live stream where we are announcing our top 5 nominees for each category. Matt, how many categories are there?
32.
32. So we're going to be dropping a lot of names
Yeah.
this Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Absolutely. And our final episode of the 2025 season is then going to drop on December 17th. We're going to take a little month hiatus before we then launch our 2026 season. Adam, we started in 2020, and we're going to be on to 2026. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Thank you to our sponsors today, the Board Shop. All your summer and winter board sports gear can be yours at bswake.com. FlymanSkis, you know where to get your custom-made jump skis and featherboard swivel skis. That's at FlymanSkis.com. And Paul Stokes at American Family Insurance. Let Paul be your insurance agent.
And thanks again to all of our listeners and our viewers. This is Matt and Adam, and this is The Ski Show.
Thank you for listening to The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast with Matt and Adam. If you have questions or ideas for the show, find us on social media or message us at theskishowpodcast@gmail.com.